Good morning, Malden. How are you today? As you well know, my name is Josephine Royal. I'm the host of Let Me Tell You Something, and I intend today to touch your heart during the season of COVID-19. I have a wonderful guest with me. Her name is Mary Driscoll. How you doing, Mary?
Hi. Well, I'm sheltering in place and getting a lot of work done, but wish I could go outside more.
Me too. But let's face it, we've had strange kind of weather this year, but the last few days have been beautiful. Have you been out there?
Yes. In fact, we went down to Gloucester and sat by ourselves and had a lobster roll.
They're serving lobster down back home?
Oh, yeah, we did, down in Gloucester. It was great.
Awesome. Now, let me ask you. I see that you are the founder of the OWLL?
Yes.
Now, when did you come across this? How did you come across this? How did this get born, so to speak?
Well, it was actually in 2000. I've done this for a long time. I've been working in Jamaica, West Indies, in the healthcare, the Ministry of Health, and I saw what art could do for opening the hearts and minds of people during the epidemic of HIV/AIDS. So I came home and decided that I would do a theater company with women who were infected because nobody was talking about them. And we were so successful that we incorporated and began to get grants and recognition for our work. And over the years, we have changed topics and active theater for social change in various aspects for women.
That's wonderful. I'm going to ask you, I'm going to jump from one thing to the other. During the season of COVID-19, exactly what have you been doing before we go on to other things? You've been staying in, or you've been staying in place, or have you been going out? What have you been doing?
Well, I've been very careful. Basically, I have been sheltering in place. I spend a great deal of time writing my new play and kind of wishing that I would catch up more with the cleaning, but unfortunately I haven't been doing that much of it. I cook and we walk down by the harbor. I'm fortunate to live in South Boston where we have water and wonderful walkways that we can go out for a walk, sheltered in place, always wearing a mask.
That's a wonderful idea.
I Facebook, too, to my friends at wine time.
That's great. That's great. Now, do you get to see them while you're having wine?
Yes, we do Face. We don't do Zoom. We do Face page.
Nice.
Face, whatever it is, just with our cell phone.
Now, do you do FaceTime, too, as well?
Yeah, that's it. I'm talking about FaceTime. That's what we do.
That's great. That's great. Anything else that you've been doing?
Let me think. Not really. Basically, I cook a lot.
What have you been making?
It's a really funny thing because I have been eating out in restaurants a lot before the COVID. Since COVID, I've been cooking a lot more, and I've gone back to the roots of the way my mother used to cook, which is Italian. So I'm cooking with a lot of escarole, things that I haven't really eaten for a long time, or in a way that I haven't eaten in a long time to cook.
That good old ascoloro, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So now I'm going to switch a little bit. Now, tell me about this company that you were founder of, and you're a playwright, and I understand that you're acting sometimes.
Yeah, I act sometimes. Well, what can I say? I've got a new play. The theater it's a collective of women, artists, who want to commit their art to social change and to talk about the things that women who are underrepresented in various ways are viewed. And so now our new play, which I'm writing now, is an intergenerational one with elders and youth, young women, because I think it has to be like passing down the culture of elders to the youth to understand better how to cope with what's happening.
Mm-hmm. You think the young at heart, so to speak, the elders, I call them young at heart, by the way. Do you think the young at heart can touch the young at heart and reach out to them and help them along?
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know that you don't say elders anymore. That's not acceptable.
No, it is acceptable, but for me, going down the road to 70 real soon, I prefer to be called young at heart.
Yeah. Well, that's funny because I wrote my first play. Yeah, I agree with you. As I wrote my first play at 72, which sold out. And, you hear these stories. I thought to myself, oh, my goodness, you hear these stories. I finally published a play, and I'm going to drop dead tomorrow. Well, I'm still here, and I'm still writing. And I think that's because I'm young at heart also. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, when I look at you, I don't see your age. I see a very beautiful, lovely woman.
Thank you very much.
Tell me about your writing.
Well, I write basically from what the people who come to me or the project, what they want to share with me. So I basically write their stories from what they are telling me. And I weave it into a script, which they then approve. They say, yeah, okay, you can say that. And a lot of times they'll say, take that out. I don't want you to write about that I told you that. So it's basically stories from women and how they've been affected by whatever the theme is that, the play is about. In this case, it's about gentrification. It's happening, I know, in Malden, and it's certainly happening here in Boston. Mm-hmm. And older people are getting evicted, even though there's, COVID is a different thing. I started this before. It's just going to be worse after this is all over anyway. So, old or young at heart people, older people are getting, and poor people are getting put out of their homes because of the gentrification that's happening. And so we have more homeless, it goes on. So that's the story.
Let me ask you a question. You say identification. What do you mean by that?
What do you mean? I'm not sure I understand.
You say identification. What do you mean in the terms of identification? Or maybe I misunderstood.
No, because I'm not quite sure.
Oh, that's okay.
Or would they identify? Or
yes.
I mean, see, because, we talk just like we're talking now, and they might say something to let me know what is happening in their neighborhood, but not necessarily they don't want to have it in the play.
I understand.
Like sharing personal about, among women.
I understand. Now, how do you come about these people, those that you interact with? How do you meet them?
That's a good question. Partially because I have friends in the community who know me, know my work. I work also with partner organizations so that the community organization will recommend people to me that might like to be part of a project. And anybody who wants to be part of the project, I accept. And they are paid a stipend for attending the workshops where we're writing the plays.
I think that's awesome. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, I get grants.
I think that's wonderful.
I write grants. Yeah, I'm funded for the writing part of it. Yeah.
So you're a grant writer as well?
Oh, yeah. Yes, I spend a lot of time writing grants. I guess I left that out.
My
favorite. But I don't mind. I like writing grants, actually.
I think you're a woman of many talents.
Well, many interests anyway.
Yes. Now, tell me about you. Who inspired you with all of this? I mean, you have many hats, so to speak. So, who inspired you?
Oh, that question is a hard one, and it's asked a lot. Why do you do what you do? I don't know exactly. I do know that my background as a child growing up, I grew up partially in foster care, so that I think that I saw a lot of systemic abuse and injustice, and I think that there's a lot motivating me around that. And healthcare seems to be the most important thing for all of us, because without health, none of us can achieve. And education second, so you blend all those three together, and it's kind of guided how I've gone about doing and learning different aspects, I guess, of life, I guess.
Wow.
It's a hard question.
Yeah, but that's a wonderful answer, though, I think.
Yeah, we try, all of us, I think, in our own way. We have tried, to contribute in whatever way we can.
Mm-hmm. How did you get into acting?
That was when I was working for the Ministry of Health. And I saw what they did through theater, because, a lot of people, they didn't have newspapers, or they were illiterate, didn't have the education at that time. So they used theater in order to bring people together to talk about health or whatever they were trying to have people do in their populations. And I thought, wow, this is really exciting. So I entered their school. I was 55, the only white person speaking standard English. And they accepted me, and I just loved it. And I quit my job at the Ministry of Health and came home and changed careers. And that was at 55.
You were 55 years old?
Yep.
I think that's wonderful.
Yeah. Decided, well, that's it. This is what I want to do now. So that's what I've been doing. Yeah.
That was a leap of faith, wasn't it?
It was. But, if your heart goes pitter-patter,
mm-hmm.
you just kind of keep on stepping toward it,
Now, tell me, have you met many people, just not the people that you work with, but have people coming into your path that you know that you are like-minded?
Oh, yes. Except there are people who come into the path and we immediately understand. But then there's also going forth to meet people who might be interested in the kinds of sharing that we wish to do.
Mm-hmm.
Too. It's not just, kind of like walking around. Sometimes, we also seek, like-minded people. And people write to me. Just recently, something happened. A gentleman who was a tenured professor who got into trouble because he stopped and frisk, and ended up serving time in prison. And he is a poet who's published and a tenured professor. And he called me because he wanted to join like-minded people and was looking, as he was now a professor here in Boston.
Well, I think that what an opportunity for people that are looking for a way to be creative, to share their gifts. There's somebody out there that understands that, and that's you.
Yeah, I think that opportunity presents itself every day to all of us. It's the matter of what is it that makes your heart pitter-patter, and just simply try it.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't get that opportunity. And
but it happens to all of us every day. There's a little something. If you just kind of look. You don't even have to look for it. Just be aware of it, like what you're doing. You just started this wonderful program, which I understand is a great success. And it was just the opportunity presented, and you did.
Yes, actually, I got to tell you, you came to mind. And I said, oh my gosh, I got to reach out to Mary. I had to reach out to you because in my heart, it's just like you just passed by in my heart. And for me, it's always a heart condition. And I said, Mary.
Thank you.
So tell me more. Have you ever sang?
Nope. Never was on a stage. I went to one play in my life before I started this. I never was exposed to it. It's just that when I was in Jamaica working in healthcare for the Ministry of Health, it happened. And I grabbed it and said, this is it. My heart pitter-pattered. And I said, I'm going to follow this. So I did. So no, never sang, never was in theater, never saw a play. I was truly an academic.
I think this is awesome. So right now you're writing a play.
Yep.
And how far into it are you?
Well, it was done and funded. I got some funding from the Boston Cultural Council, and it was ready. I have a director who's fabulous and a composer, but because of the virus, I don't know how, and when it's going to be done. I am rewriting it a little bit during this time and thinking about how can it be presented, because I don't think people are going to be willing and able to gather very soon in small theater places. So I'm trying to think, how can it be presented outdoors?
Well, there may be other ways to do that, Mary. It may not be done for a while, but I'm sure with the creativity that you have in your mind and in your heart that you definitely will come up with something.
Well, thanks. I will. Thank you. And when I do, make sure you come and see it.
I definitely will. If I don't see it out in the open, I'll definitely will see it otherwise.
Okay.
You can be rest assured. It can be rest assured. What else are you doing for today? It's a lovely day.
Well, as a matter of fact, I'm going to clean my refrigerator. And I've got the windows open. I live in a studio, a very large studio here in Boston, an artist studio. I live in a cooperative art building. Mm-hmm. So it's all open space, and it's got the windows open. And after I clean my refrigerator, I'm going to go get some delicious food to cook and go to the bank.
Nice.
It's very mundane, but with my mask on. And distance of 6 feet.
That's wonderful, but you are doing the right thing. I have to ask you another question. Are you an artist in the way of painting?
No, I am not a visual artist at all. I have no ability that way, nor do I like it. And the visual artists think that, well, why don't you just paint something? It's so relaxing. I don't find it relaxing because what I do is horrible. And it doesn't. Where writing makes me relax.
Mm-hmm.
Funny, we have different feelings about things. But there are visual artists in that building. There are dancers. There are playwrights, actors, people who make furniture, even as an art form.
How about creative movement?
Yeah, creative movement. There is creative movement also.
Did you ever do creative movement, Mary?
No, I've had to. I've been in situations where I've had to in plays, but I'm not good. I'm very awkward in terms of movement. Mm-hmm. I'm not good at it, but I've done it because I had to.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, I acted. I've acted a lot.
So, what did you act in? Can you tell me about it?
Let's see, what might you know? A lot of independent films. I was in, what would I know? I've been in films, and I am a union person. What's the name of the one? I even forget what half the names of them because it was so long ago. The one that was in Boston that was held at MIT, and the guy was a genius. It was all about Boston.
It was all about Boston. I will tell you, I will look it up. I will find you.
Well, you know, I have a person in back of me who just might know the answer. Goodwill Hunting. Wonderland and Goodwill Hunting. Yeah, those are the big ones.
That's nice. That's nice.
But the rest were independent, and plays. I've done quite a bit of plays locally, but small theater. You know, very small theater.
Well, you may think it's small, but I think it's a wonderful thing to do, and just step out and do it. And I think that's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. I think it's great what you're doing. It's very, very, it's important also. I think it's very important for us all, not just myself, but us all to keep in contact, even if it's just voice.
That's true. But it's also important because you're talking to seniors. I think right now a lot of my work and what I'm thinking about is how important it is for the young at heart, although the elders, to pass down the culture. You know, that because elders, dads, people with their experiences. And I find, for instance, my granddaughter and her boyfriend, they want to quote double date. They actually use it. Let's double date with your grandmother. Because I think we pass down, culture, food, ways of surviving.
Correct.
All that is so important for young people to hear and to know. And by young, I mean 20s.
But
the young people that are 20s.
Look at the richness that you have, that you can pass on to these children. You have so much to give, and so much laughter, and so much life and richness that you can pass on. I just love that.
Well, we all do. Every one of us has so much, life experience and traditions and culture that get us through and connect to each other.
Yes.
And it's important not to be isolated. A lot of my work has to do with culture and underrepresented artists who bring culture to our theater.
Mm-hmm. That is so important to do.
Mm-hmm.
That's so important to do. Could tell me more.
Well, I don't know what more to tell you. I'm not used to talking for a half hour.
You're doing just fine. I just love to hear all about what you do. Where have you been? Have you traveled?
Oh, I've traveled. I've actually been in 27 countries.
You're kidding.
Yeah, this is the most settled I've ever been. I have volunteered and both traveled and studied. Most recently, wasn't recent, it's probably within the last 10 years, but my last big work was for the International Health Organization. It was while I was doing theater and acting, and I went to India, the very poorest part of India, to do HIV prevention using theater. And I also have been to Uganda and Ethiopia, the same, using theater for HIV prevention. So that's safety for women, particularly in those countries.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you think about what you have done, do you realize the import and that magnificent gift that you have been given and what you have done in your life? You have done amazingly, and you minister to people in such a way. What a gift you have been given to travel like that and minister to people. That is a gift.
Well, it is a gift. Yeah, it is a gift, and I have appreciated every bit of it. And it certainly has enhanced me, but I get the gift back also by, just knowing. And it's very exciting to learn from other cultures and to understand more about the world. I travel now in my life for more pleasure. It's like more vacationing. But I try to always vacation with a purpose that will help, us learn a little bit more. Our last trip was, as you know, to Alaska, and a very small boat that we had to learn the kinds of things that I didn't know. I wanted to know about climate change, and I knew it was really, really important, but I knew not very much about it. So I decided that it would be great to go to Alaska and to be able to witness and learn about what was happening. And boy, I saw glaciers right in front of us falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
It was very amazing, and it made me come back more committed to, in our small way, committing to, climate change.
So you saw it right in action, Mary, huh?
Right, yeah, and learned about it. It was a very scientific kind of trip, but it was a vacation too. Ate well, drank well, went outside to see all the explorations with lectures. It was quite amazing. So you come back renewed with, a sense of purpose, and I feel privileged to have been able to do that.
See what you're saying? You feel privileged. You're grateful. I love that about you, that you're grateful and that you feel privileged. I'm so grateful I got the opportunity to share. You've taken me on a trip today.
Yeah.
And I thank you for that.
Thank you. I just love knowing you, and I feel honored to have done, that you are interested in this program that I have that I could share with your program, because that's what it's about, right? It's all our sharing our work and our thoughts.
Well,
and I love what you're doing. I'd like to hear also a little more about what you're doing.
Well,
I know about it, of course.
I'll tell you a little bit about it. My motive truly is for me to minister to people of our age. I want to touch people of all languages. For me, I know I know probably a language barrier. However, I use music at the end of this podcast. I take all different types of music and I put it on the end of this podcast, and I do it purposely because I use music. And I feel it touches the heart. I love music. I do play the piano to a certain point, and I've played the drums in the past, and I do sing. And
wow. Cool.
I love to touch people of all walks of life with music. And I feel that music is a way of breaking down barriers.
I agree totally.
Yes. And I have used music because even when I work, I always play music because it lifts the atmosphere. And it brings peace to the atmosphere. And I use it in my home. I use it wherever I go. And I've had success at the senior center as well with music. Even though I had interpreters, it was great to have them. But it was wonderful. I was able to use the music to break down barriers, and I was successful with it. I'm using this podcast, and I'm speaking to a lovely lady, and she's creative with playwriting and helping other people of all walks of life, and using playwriting and acting and traveling and learning. She has taught me today. Mary, you have taught me today. And
thank you so much.
It gives me an inner knowing that what I am doing is on the right path.
Oh, absolutely. And I agree with you. I think music is the biggest unifying idea of transferring culture, because you don't need words. Music allows those words and the heart to come through no matter what. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
moving to music. Yeah.
Correct. And I've learned to sing a little bit of Chinese. I don't know if I know the words correctly. And I've learned to speak, sing in other different languages, but they're not probably correctly, but I'm learning. And
excuse me.
Go ahead, dear.
There's something, a program, it was in Cambodia, then I worked, called Music as a Second Language.
Mm-hmm.
That, it's how you communicate through music only.
Correct.
As a language.
Correct. That's what I love. I love to do that because when I hear people talking in different languages, I hear it has a language.
Yeah.
And I hear it as music. Not words, but music. And so that's why I don't have a problem communicating with people.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I love this podcast. I have enjoyed immensely speaking with you, and I'm hoping and praying we get the opportunity to have a cappuccino together.
I would love that. We keep saying we're going to do it, and we've got to follow through on that.
Well, we will, my dear. We will. If anything, I'll cook you a good Italian meal. And yeah, I would love to. But I thank you so much for being on this podcast. You are a wealth of information. And I'm saying you and yours, please stay safe. And believe you me, I'm praying for all of you.
Thank you.
Take care, my Mary. And do I have your permission to put some information on this podcast about what you do?
Oh, of course.
Yes. And you take care. And I am so thrilled today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye now.